One day, Justin suddenly received a distress call from a girl claiming to be his daughter. To his astonishment, he realized that she was indeed his daughter and the woman he loved, simultaneously the person he felt most guilty towards from 5 years ago. Justin is compelled to return to the breathtaking country of Mozzafiato with a new identity and a transformed self to rescue the ones he loves, navigating through countless pitfalls. What awaits him? Chapter 1. Daddy, Daddy? Is that you? I'm so scared. Please save me. Inside the cockpit of a fighter jet, Elis, which soared in sky like an eagle, Justin got the call and heard the frightened voice from a little girl. You've got the wrong person. I'm not your dad. He was about to hang up, cold and stern. Daddy, I am telling the truth. My dad's name is Justin Kimberly, and my mom's name is Catherine Sherwood. Her anxious words hit Justin like a cold shower. Catherine Sherwood, a name that filled him with not only wonderful memories, but also guilt. Justin came back to his senses quickly. His breathing became erratic, asking anxiously, "Where are you now?" His daughter, definitely his daughter with Catherine. The sense of guilt in Justin intensified exponentially. However, a series of chaotic sounds suddenly erupted before he could get an answer. You little brat dare to steal my phone? Call someone to rescue you? No one could save you, even Jesus. Ah. No, please. Don't hurt me, please. The little girl cried out in pain. Come on, you'll pay for it. Get inside and play with them. These beasts will tear you apart like a tasty morsel.
No.
A horrific scream echoed, piercing Justin's heart like 1,000 needles. And then the call was cut off, replaced by faint beeping sounds. It heightened Justin's worry and unease. Anxiety and guilt overwhelmed him. At this moment, he felt an intense pain in his chest. A nauseating sensation crept up his throat and red blood spilled from his mouth. Boss, what happened? Warlord, Caesar Black, one of the 4 kings, asked hurriedly and concernedly while he was flying the jet plane. For all the members of Dawn Council, including the 4 kings, the 12 paladins, the 72 demons, thousands of warriors and assassins, Justin is the only god. But God vomited blood. Caesar, change the direction and head to Newton City as soon as possible. Justin ordered seriously, looking gloomy. Yes, but what about your appointment with Princess Juliet? Caesar hesitated. Cancel it, Justin said indifferently, without any hesitation. No one can stop him from rescuing his daughter. However, in the External Operations Command Office of the United Camerala, the Minister of Defense looked at the satellite screen with a gloomy expression, seeing the jet Elis, which represented the Dawn Council, approaching the border at a quick speed. The Dawn Council emerged 5 years ago and gradually became the most powerful organization in the world. In terms of military strength, many small countries are no match for them. Even UC, one of the most powerful countries globally, had to treat it with caution. He had to know the intentions and avoid conflicts with Dawn Council, which made him feel difficult. But he suddenly thought of someone and turned to the office operator. Contact the leader of SWORD. 3 hours later, Justin and Caesar stood outside an abandoned orphanage, dilapidated buildings and gloomy environment. The puppy's home sign hanging on the wall was also crumbling in the wind. The signal was from here, according to tracking, Caesar reported. Worried, Justin clenched his fists and walked towards the depths of the orphanage. Unlike the eerie silence outside, inside a dilapidated hall was filled with the disgusting laughter of men, the scared whimpering of a little girl and the barking of hungry dogs. Hurry up and throw this disobeying puppy into the cage. Let those good dogs teach her what obedience is, a pot-bellied man said viciously. But what if she was torn apart? How are we going to explain to that rich buyer? You know, he loves little girls the most. He has ordered this little one. Another man stopped him and calmly said, That perverted old man? Sitting in a wheelchair, he can't even move his hands. What can he do? The fat man retorted. He stared at the shivering little girl huddled in the corner and got close to her with fierce eyes. The little girl, about 4 years old, had fair skin and a milk-drunk face, looking extremely cute and angelic. Yet, at the moment, her hair was violently pulled by the man. She trembled with fear. There were many superficial wounds and bruises on her body, showing that she had been abused and tortured for some days. Additionally, her clothes were muddy and stained with both dirt and blood. "Where did you get the courage to steal my phone?" "Huh." Each "huh" echoed as the man jerked the little girl's hair backward with each repetition. The girl, in pain and fear, cried out, her small and innocent face contorted like a crumpled bun. I'm sorry, sir, I apologize for doing that. Please forgive me." She glanced at the cage, where the most aggressive and hungry dogs were kept. She knew that once thrown in there would be no chance of survival. "Sorry, you were so cute. But mistakes must be punished." He laughed cruelly, then forcefully threw her onto the ground, causing her to cry out in pain. "Johnny, be careful. This pampered brat from a young age isn't as resilient as we think," said another villain. "Perhaps it's better for her to be torn apart by these cute dogs." Johnny sneered. He lifted the little girl and prepared to open the cage. The dogs drooled and barked louder, which made her frightened and struggled. "Little brat, accept your fate. It's better than being violated by an old pervert." Johnny threw her into the cage immediately, and the rest of the villains burst into violent laughter, expecting to watch a show of dogs versus girl. "Daddy and Mommy, I love you." Seeing the dogs rushed over to bite her, she closed her eyes desperately. Chapter 2. In that critical situation, the door was broken with a bang. The one who appeared was none other than Justin. What the hell? Damn it! You two idiots! Who are you?" Justin paid no attention to them but only stared at the cage, where his poor daughter was surrounded by several hungry dogs. He walked there step by step, his powerful and terrifying aura locking the vicious dogs trying to harm his daughter. It's like mice meeting cats. Those dogs foamed at the mouths and fell to the ground quickly. "You bastard! What the hell you did to my cute pets?" An angry thug rushed up and attempted to beat up Justin. But an elegant figure appeared in front of the thug like a ghost, blocking his way. With golden hair and perfect pecs, Caesar looked like an elegant Italian nobleman. He smiled to the frightened thug. "I'll play with you." The thug rolled up his sleeves and charged towards Caesar, thinking that he was bigger than Caesar. He was quite self-assured of his strength, believing he could chew up Caesar and make him kneel to apologize disgracefully. He rushed at Caesar with a punch, yet Caesar remained unmoved and only looked at him with a scornful half-eye. Then, he delivered a kick, a powerful one, straight into the thug's abdomen. The force was terrifying, sending the guy flying and crashing into a pile of junk. He lay sprawled on the ground, foaming at the mouth, eyes widely open and dead without blinking. The scene frightened the rest of the villains out of their wits. They inhaled an icy breath without daring to exhale. Their hearts seemed to stop beating, faces turning pale. Justin walked to his daughter gracefully, looking like a deity. He opened the steel cage easily and hugged the little tightly in his arms. She was dirty and covered in wounds. Seeing her, Justin couldn't hold back his tears. The first sight he saw her, he knew she's his daughter. But at this moment, she was almost unconscious because of fear. "Daddy, is it you?" She tried to keep clear and utter some words softly. "Yes, I am here. My dear sweetie, I'll protect you forever. No one can hurt you anymore." Justin hugged her tightly and gently kissed her forehead. Then he asked further, "What's your name?"
"I'm Julie Sherwood."
After telling that, she fainted. Justin carefully held her in his arms, and then coldly looked at the villains huddled together. At this very moment, one of them, summoning all his courage, asked, "Who are you?" "Justin Kimberly." Justin didn't hesitate to reveal his true identity. It's the first bloody announcement of his return. He's the ghost of the Kimberlys. Justin Kimberly. "You are Justin Kimberly? The one led to the bankruptcy of the Kimberly family and the death of your parents?" "Ha!" In Newton, almost everyone knew Justin Kimberly, a notorious wastrel. He's even the most typical negative teaching material for all family education in this city. Thinking of this, the pot-bellied Johnny burst out laughing. It's the commission from the Sherwood family. You, a homeless wastrel. How dare you offend the Sherwood family? In his eyes, Justin was only a homeless poor loser. When he revealed his backer, he would be so scared that he knelt down and begged for mercy. But he was wrong and underestimated Justin. They had done enough harm to Julie that even 10,000 times of executions couldn't atone for their sins. Why? Tell me why. Why do they want her to die? Isn't that her family's? Justin's tone was calm, but contained a big storm. Caesar understood and came behind Johnny like a ghost again, strangling his neck. Johnny almost choked and couldn't do anything under Caesar's power hand, but stubbornly grunted out his words. You'd better not meddle in it. Look at yourself. You're just a poor guy, a notorious wastrel. Why do you get involved in this trouble? Why? Because I am her father. Father? Father. Finally, the mystery that confused the whole Newton citizens for more than 4 years was revealed. It's Justin Kimberly, the well-known wastrel making Catherine Sherwood have a child out of wedlock, taking the virginity of the Newton gold apple. You guys, what are you waiting for? Fight him, Johnny shouted. The thugs looked at each other, hesitated, and immediately picked up their weapons and rushed towards Justin and Caesar. Justin threw him aside and turned to Caesar, saying, I don't want to see any of these scumbags coming out of here. Kill them all. Outside, Justin looked at Julie, who was peacefully asleep in his arms, with tender affection in his eyes. This was his daughter, his and Catherine's daughter. There were still blood relatives connected to him in this world. Since the passing of his parents, family had become a luxury that he could hardly touch in his life. During that time, he had almost lost his sense of direction. It was Catherine, who lit up his gloomy life like a ray of sunshine and gave him the strength to stand up again. Catherine, how have you been all these years? Wait for me. I will come find you soon. Justin looked up at the sky and whispered softly to himself. He vividly remembered that day when his family went bankrupt, and he was being chased by people, eventually falling into the river and desperately struggling in the water. It was Catherine, the girl known as the Golden Apple of Newton City because of her beauty, who rescued him from drowning and spent a wonderful month with him. They fell in love. However, happy times are always short-lived. After regaining his confidence, he went abroad to work on his own career, knowing that he's not worthy of her, either personal reputation or family background. If it wasn't for Catherine, there wouldn't be the Dawn Council leader, who made government officials around the world scared at his name. Creak, the door opened, and Caesar walked out, fresh red blood dripping from the blade of his dagger. Dictato. Although it only took a few minutes, those scum inside suffered extreme pain and torment before meeting their deaths in despair. Did you extract information about the mastermind behind the scenes through interrogation? Justin gazed softly at Julie, gently stroking her hair. A man named Hamza Sherwood. Caesar bowed slightly and respectfully answered. Chapter 3. In a luxurious villa, a man without any clothing was kneeling on the ground, wearing a collar and chained like a dog, pleasing a woman sitting on the chair. The woman was dressed in a sexy black tight uniform, holding the dog leash in her left hand and a whip in her right hand. She proudly placed her feet, wearing high heels, on the smooth back of the man. Interestingly, he was enjoying. He had indulged in such kind of humiliation. Your Majesty the Queen, are you satisfied with my performance? He imitated a dog's tongue-out expression and flattered her. Well done, Hamza. You're so obedient, and I will reward you even more. The woman lightly laughed and then took off the shoes. With Hamza's excitement, she placed her foot on his face. Suck it. It is the mercy from the Queen. And Hamza Sherwood, the future heir to the Sherwood family, behaved as if he was devoutly worshipping, opening his mouth eagerly. By the way, Hamza, how is your cousin doing? The former Golden Apple, Catherine. The woman casually asked, but a hint of deep jealousy flashed in her eyes. However, lost in his world, Hamza only made happy sounds as he swallowed saliva, until the woman lost her patience and kicked him to the ground. Seeing his queen getting angry, he regained his senses and quickly answered, Catherine, that unmarried pregnancy scandal that tarnished the Sherwood family's reputation. She has been completely marginalized by the family now. Her position in the company, her house, even the car outside, all belong to us now. And as for herself, she cried herself blind after losing her daughter. I heard that she might use her body for status like a prostitute. I heard that she's dating with Adam Walt. All of this, thanks to your idea, my queen. After we caught her daughter, Catherine became distracted at work, causing the family business to lose millions of dollars. She has lost the trust of Grandpa. Upon hearing this, the woman raised her chin proudly, with a hint of disdain in her mind. Catherine Sherwood, even if you surpass me in beauty and are known as the golden apple of Newton City, so what? Now, not only have you lost your daughter, but you have also been almost kicked out of the Sherwood family. You are no longer qualified to compare yourself to me. Then, she looked at the humble man crawling in front of her. A cold smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. And when your stupid cousin takes over the Sherwood family, everything will be mine. However, just as she fantasized about the bright future, an angry and loud voice suddenly resounded, like thunder, shaking the entire villa. Hamza Sherwood, get out. Who is making a fuss outside? Hamza was startled, all his desires dispelled, and he quickly stood up and got dressed. If it was discovered that the presumed heir to the Sherwood family had severe masochistic tendencies in private, his fate would be even worse than Catherine's. At the entrance of the villa, Justin held his just-awakened daughter Julie in his arms, his gaze fixed on the bedroom on the second floor of the house, his eyes as sharp as arrows, his voice as cold as the freezing wind. Originally, he wanted to go back to Catherine's house first and reunite with her and their daughter. Unexpectedly, after Julie woke up, she told him that this house no longer belonged to her mother, but to her uncle, Hamza Sherwood, including the familiar Maserati parked outside. The thought of his two most important women suffering so much injustice ignited a raging anger within him. Soon, a man and a woman walked out, dressed neatly. Who are you? Why is this little bastard Julie with you? Where are Johnny and the others? Hamza was the first to speak, and as he looked at Justin's face, he also seemed somewhat puzzled. Why does this man seem so familiar? Justin, Kimberly, weren't you missing 5 years ago? How could you appear here again? The woman was greatly surprised. She never expected to see this man again one day. What? He's that prodigal Justin? Hamza's eyes widened in astonishment. Naomi? Justin's eyebrows furrowed slightly. Naomi was his fiancée in name only. It's a family marriage arranged by parents of both parties. However, she and her parents had been avoiding him since bankruptcy. Seeing their intimate appearance, he knew that this supposed fiancé of his and Hamza had an extraordinary relationship. Justin, why did you come back to Newton after causing the Kimberly family's bankruptcy 5 years ago? However, she was interrupted before she could finish her sentence. I came back for Julie, my daughter, and for Catherine Sherwood, the only beloved woman in my life. Justin's words were like thunder, shocking both of them slightly. So, you were the one who committed adultery with Catherine and brought shame to the Sherwood family. Hamza stared at Justin hatefully, looking like he wanted to skin him and cut him into pieces. In the past 5 years, Catherine never confessed her relationship with Justin. She just endured the abuse and humiliation from her family and raised Julie alone. So, it was you who had an affair with Catherine, causing the shame of the Sherwood family? Are you humiliating me? Are you trampling on the dignity of the Luke family? Naomi was so furious. Although she doesn't like Justin, this waste in her eyes, she cannot tolerate any betrayal from this supposed fiancé. Justin didn't explain. After his family went bankrupt, Naomi and her family didn't help him, but even made things worse for him. To him, this woman was just an unimportant role in his life. What mattered most was finding Catherine, the person whom he had yearned for in his heart. So he walked up to Hamza, asking in a cold voice, "Where is Catherine? Tell me now." Humph. Hamza snorted, just about to mock him. Justin held Julie with his left arm and hit Hamza in the eye with a straight punch from his right hand. This sudden attack surprised both of them. Naomi stared blankly at this fiancé who made her feel strange, and Hamza leaned against the wall, covering his left eye and crying out in pain. Immediately, Justin pulled his hair again, pressed his head against the wall, and continued to increase the strength. "Tell me before I lose patience. Where is she? Otherwise your head will explode like a watermelon," Justin said lightly, feeling the pressure coming from his head. Hamza felt like his head was going to explode and shouted loudly. "Catherine is at the Blue Whale Hotel. She was dating with Adam Walt. Your beloved woman was making love with someone else." Chapter 4. The Blue Whale Hotel is located in the center of the city, one of the most luxurious five-star hotels in Newton. In the presidential suite on the top floor, Catherine sat in a chair, feeling helpless and lost. "Mr. Walt, where am I? Is my daughter here?" Although she couldn't see, she instinctively felt that something strange about this place that Adam Walt had brought her to. She even heard the sound of water, as if someone was taking a shower. "Don't worry, my dear Miss Sherwood, your daughter is safe now, and my secretary will bring her to you soon for a reunion," Adam reassured her in a gentle tone as he walked out of the bathroom after taking a shower. He's handsome, well-built, and wore a pair of wire-rimmed glasses, giving him the appearance of a scholarly researcher. If it weren't for being in a hotel, if he weren't wearing such an exposed bathrobe, if he weren't deceiving a blind woman, then his words would be convincing. Born in the Walt family, a top-ranking elite family in Newton, Adam had always gotten whatever he wanted. The only exception was Catherine. A few months ago, he met her at a banquet, and her stunning beauty completely captivated his heart. However, this woman, who was compared to Aphrodite herself, never paid attention to his pursuit. But this time, his opportunity came, and he would subjugate this woman who had refused him for many times. "Catherine, take it easy. This is the red wine I bought from an ancient winery in France, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Taste it." Adam poured 2 glasses and sprinkled some blue powder into one of them. He handed that glass to Catherine, who's anxious. "Mr. Walt, I can't drink alcohol." Catherine was extremely nervous, her face turning red. She deeply regretted believing Adam's words so easily, leading her to this trap. However, when Adam looked at her tempting face, like a mature red apple, he had no intention of giving up easily and threatened, "Catherine, don't you want to see your lovely daughter? She really wanted her mommy, you know? Mr. Walt, have you really found Julie?" Although Catherine believed deep down that this playboy was deceiving her, she was unwilling to give up any last bit of hope. Julie had been missing for almost a week. During this time, she had lost almost everything, but she didn't care as long as her daughter could safely return to home. So, trembling, she took the glass of wine. "Fine, I'll drink." A victorious smile appeared on Adam's face as he watched his dream woman slowly bring the glass to her lips. Ding, ding, ding. Suddenly, Catherine's phone rang inopportunely, bringing her back to the senses. She placed the wine glass on the table and took out her phone from her pocket to answer the call. However, she heard her daughter's voice. "Mommy, Julie, where are you?" Hearing her daughter's voice, Catherine became excited, tears almost streaming down her face. She stood up, ready to leave. Seeing this, Adam's face turned dark, and he reached out to stop Catherine, saying in a harsh tone, "Catherine, stop. You can't leave now." Catherine felt worried and asked nervously, "Then, Mr. Walt, what do you want?" Laughing loudly, Adam said somewhat hysterically, "What do I want? Don't you really know? I've been pursuing you for so long, and you never accepted my proposal. Today, in my hotel, you belong to me." As he was saying, he got close to her. "No. You can't do this. It's a crime." Catherine retreated in fear, accidentally falling back onto the bed and trembling as she spoke. "Really? But you willingly came to the hotel with me, and the surveillance captured it all." "I didn't force you into anything," Adam said smugly with a joking tone. You. Catherine was furious. Their conversations were also heard by Justin on the other end of the phone call. He spoke in a serious voice. Adam Walt, I'll give you a chance. Let her go, and I'll spare your life. Oh? Who are you? Her suitor? No one in this city has ever dared to talk to me like that. You are so brave, man. But, perfect. Then you can listen to the desperate moans of your dreamed woman. Realizing that Catherine's phone was still connected, he became even more excited. So, he pounced on Catherine, pinning her down and tearing at her clothes. No, please don't. Get away. Help. Hearing Catherine's desperate cries, Justin seethed with hatred. He crushed the phone in his hand, blood dripping from his bitten lips, and calmly asked, When can we reach there? Within 2 minutes. Caesar could feel Justin's intense murderous intent. He floored the accelerator, speeding through the streets and leaving the police cars behind. Justin held onto Julie tightly, closed his eyes, and murmured, Adam Walt, from now on, you're on the death list. Catherine, the more you resist, the more excited I am, Adam exclaimed eagerly, his eyes turning red as he crazily tore at the woman beneath him. Great. She was the woman he desired. Such intense resistance. As her clothes gradually disappeared, exposing her smooth skin to the air, fueled by anger and despair, Catherine gave it her all and delivered a powerful knee strike. A piercing scream. Adam curled up on the bed, clutching his vulnerable manhood, howling in pain. With the opportunity, Catherine hurriedly tried to escape towards the door. However, before she could reach it, Adam, who had recovered, grabbed her by the hair and forcefully dragged her back onto the bed. You bitch! Adam slapped her across the face in anger. In an instant, Catherine lost consciousness. But right before losing consciousness, she seemed to hear a loud noise. Boom! Justin kicked down the door with one foot, striding in with Julie in his arms. Who are you? Tom and Jerry? What are you doing? Adam, who was planning to enjoy Catherine's body, was frightened by the loud noise, shouting angrily. Tom and Jerry were the highly paid ex-special forces he had hired. They should have been guarding the room. What's going on? Are you calling these two rookies? With flowing golden hair, Caesar walked in, holding 2 swooning muscular men and throwing them in front of Adam, causing him to retreat in fear. You! I warn you, don't mess with me. I'm the owner of this hotel. If you harm me, neither you nor Catherine will walk out of here. Adam leaned against the wall, trying to appear calm. Adam Walt, weren't you arrogant during the phone call? Now, choose a way for yourself of meeting the death. Justin stared at him intently and said slowly, his mouth curling into a cruel smile. Chapter 5. Justin slowly walked to the edge of the bed and looked at Catherine, who was unconscious and frowning. The coldness in his eyes was instantly replaced by gentleness. He sat down beside the bed and gently stroked her cheek, softly saying, Sorry, Catherine, I came late. Suddenly, there was a chaotic sound of footsteps in the corridor. In no time, 2 or 3 dozens of strong men rushed into the presidential suite, surrounding Justin and Caesar. Boss, how should we deal with these 2 intruders? Asked Captain Stephen, bowing respectfully to Adam. Upon seeing this situation, Adam immediately became ecstatic and ordered, Control them. Open their eyes wide and witness how I fuck this bitch. Then, one by one, you and your men can take turns fucking her. Then, he looked at Justin and shouted hysterically, You wanted to kill me? Come on. I'm right here. Your beloved woman will be. Shut up. Adam's voice abruptly stopped because he felt a powerful pressure pressing down on him, causing him to sense the terror of impending death. He couldn't even make a sound, and his entire body was immobilized. It's similar to a kind of spell of magic. However, none of his subordinates noticed anything unusual except for Stephen. Mr. Walt? What's wrong with you? He keenly sensed something was off with Adam, as if a bug that had been sealed in amber, motionless. Julie, would you like to play a game with Daddy? Close your eyes, lean your head against Mommy, count to 100 from 1, and then open your eyes. Daddy will reward you with a trip to Disney. Justin coaxed his adorable daughter in a gentle tone. Really? Daddy, you're so nice. Julie loves you the most. Upon hearing the mention of Disney, little Julie's eyes became even brighter. And then, 1, 2, 3. The countdown began. Caesar, don't let these troublesome guys disturb me when I'm executing him. Break their legs and arms, and throw them out. Justin said indifferently. Yes, your majesty. Caesar's lazy demeanor changed, his gaze becoming sharp as he looked at the men, as if a butcher looking at the lambs about to be slaughtered. Let's dance. He drew out his dictato and said, but the disdain in his eyes stimulated them, and they all picked up weapons and attacked. You bastard! You will pay for your arrogance. However, the next second, blood-red roses bloomed successively in the room, enchanting and beautiful. Just 30 seconds later, except for Adam still standing motionless, all his subordinates lay on the ground, groaning in pain. Stephen covered the wounds, his face turning pale, and asked tremblingly, Who are you? You are not qualified to know yet. Caesar put away his weapon and said indifferently, Now it's our turn. Justin stared at the terrified Adam and smiled. But his smile appeared to be an invitation to hell from Satan, until Justin grabbed his neck and pressed him against the wall. You, used to being high and mighty, do you know what it feels like to fall into the ground? After saying that, Justin opened the window and lifted his entire body out, suspending him outside the window of the 100-story building. Any last words? Justin asked calmly, releasing his oppression on him. Feeling the pressure on his body disappear, Adam desperately cried and pleaded, tears and snot streaming down his face. There was even a strong smell of urine beneath him. No. Please spare me. I promise I won't offend Kathy. No, Miss Sherwood. Please, give me a chance to repent. I've given you a chance, but it's a pity that you give it up. Justin shook his head. His keen sixth sense told him that there were no pedestrians directly below, so he decisively let go of his hand.
No.
The desperate scream was drowned out by the roaring wind. Forgiving you is God's business while mine is sending you to meet it. How dare you kill the young master of the Walt family? Stephen, enduring the pain of his broken limbs, said in panic. Adam Walt was dead, and they failed to protect him. They would definitely be held accountable by the Walt family. At least you are still alive. Don't worry, I am a reasonable person. The crimes you have committed do not warrant me executing you, Justin said as he walked past him and lightly kicked him. You! Stephen was furious, but realizing the vast difference in power between them, he could only swallow his anger. Let's go! They supported each other and stumbled out of the room like a group of kangaroos. After they left, little Julie's counting game finally came to an end. 98, 99, 100. Daddy, I did it. Julie lifted her head happily, waiting for her father's praise. My sweetie, you're amazing. Justin touched her head, his face filled with doting. Caesar, with high EQ, also walked out of the room at that time, leaving the three together. At the same time, Catherine slowly woke up, opening her lifeless eyes. Why did I fall asleep? No, I was knocked out by that scammer Adam he wanted, Catherine muttered as she recalled, getting into panic. She quickly checked her body and found nothing unusual, which relieved her. Mommy! Julie's cute voice sounded, catching Catherine's nervous heart. Julie, is that you? Where are you? Come to me. Catherine was extremely surprised, constantly feeling around, trying to catch her daughter who had been missing for days, until her hand was firmly held by a man. Catherine, I'm back. Hearing the familiar voice she had longed for, Catherine stunned once again, tears streaming down uncontrollably. Justin, why are you here? Because the two most important women in my life were being bullied, and I must protect you, Justin said, embracing the trembling and crying Catherine. In this moment, she was just a fragile woman, relying on her man. Daddy, Mommy, Julie wants a hug too. pouted Julie nearby, feeling angry. And this warm and blissful moment became the happiest time for Justin during the past 5 years. Chapter 6. Justin embraced Catherine like a princess because it seemed she had no strength left to continue walking. Catherine, allowing Justin to hold her, leaned her head on his shoulder with a gentle sigh. They descended together. In the lobby on the lower floor, the mangled body of the wealthy man Justin had pushed from the upper floor lay there, covered in blood and shattered. His current appearance was extremely gruesome, lying in a pool of blood, his body distorted with wounds everywhere. Adam's face was pale, his eyes still wide open. Adam's corpse stirred up a commotion among the onlookers. The crowd around his body grew larger. Some expressed curiosity, others fear, and some took out their phones to take pictures, record videos, or livestream. "Is that Adam, the sole heir of the Walt family?" Whispers began as people recognized the identity of the corpse. Though his current appearance seemed terrifying, it hadn't reached the point of complete disfigurement. Some approached to get a closer look, staring into the wide-open, lifeless eyes. "Yes, it's him. The untouchable guy, right? Who would have thought he'd end up like this?" Indeed, he wielded so much power, with the Walt family backing him up. His father was famous for covering up for him. "I wonder how many people he oppressed in this city. I thought even God couldn't punish him." "That's right. Well deserved." As the crowd murmured and some even applauded, the loud noise of a car engine suddenly drew the attention. A Range Rover SV autobiography appeared, elegantly parking in front of the hotel. 3 men in black suits, with stern faces and swift movements, stepped out. Subsequently, the 4th door opened, a path was cleared, and a middle-aged man descended. He was dignified, exuding an air of upper-class charisma. Everyone quickly realized that he was Carlisle Walt, the chairman of the Walt conglomerate, and also the father who always shielded Adam, a sky-high figure. The crowd immediately fell silent, and those who were applauding revealed fear. On the other hand, Carlisle Walt, along with his bodyguards, quickly approached the corpse. Seeing his son in that state, he couldn't help but let out a cry.
Adam.
"My son, how could you end up like this?" The city's information network was indeed dense, or more precisely, the Walt family's information network was sharp. But in the end, he arrived a step too late, unable to save his son. Trembling, Carlisle Walt couldn't believe the truth. He wanted to touch his son but hesitated, as if afraid of causing further harm to any part of Adam's body, though the current state of Adam's corpse already had no intact parts. "My son, my beloved son." It's a rare sight to see a powerful man like Mr. Carlisle Walt shedding tears. But at this moment, besides curious glances, no one dared to take photos or videos, as they knew the consequences would be severe. The radar-like gazes of the bodyguards scanned the surroundings, ready to detect any suspicious movements. Everyone was well aware of Mr. Carlisle Walt's ruthlessness. "Who handles this? I will crush them like potato peels. Adam, rest assured, I will avenge you." Mr. Carlisle Walt roared, causing others to worry about the hero who had just punished the villain. "Call Stephen. Hurry, call Stephen." Mr. Carlisle Walt commanded his subordinates. One bodyguard immediately dialed Stephen's number and handed the phone to him. "Yes, Chairman." Mr. Carlisle Walt listened to the phone with a furious and resentful mood. When he heard Stephen's voice, he exploded in anger. "Stephen, what have you done? Why didn't you protect the young master? Who handles what happened to Adam?" Mr. Carlisle Walt's tone seemed as if he wanted to devour Stephen alive. Stephen cried bitterly. At this moment, Mr. Carlisle Walt's eyes froze when he saw Stephen rushing out of the hotel with a bleeding nose and battered appearance. "Chairman!" He rushed to Mr. Carlisle Walt, falling to his knees. His current state was also extremely pitiful, with almost no intact parts of his clothing. "Chairman!" Hoo. Stephen realized that his life was in danger this time. "Dreadful!" Mr. Carlisle Walt grabbed Stephen by the collar and pulled him up, his eyes flashing with anger. "Why did I raise you? I raised you to protect my son. How dare you live when my son is lying here? Speak. Who handles this? Stephen trembled, his teeth clashing together so hard that he couldn't utter a word. It's a man. They are still inside the hotel, they are still inside the hotel, they are still inside the hotel. Stephen didn't know how to reveal Justin's identity, because Adam had made enemies with many people, and Stephen himself didn't know who this person was. But suddenly, thinking of something crucial, Stephen repeated it 3 times smoothly. After hearing this, Mr. Carlyle Walt didn't hesitate to throw Stephen to the ground. Then, he ordered his subordinates, "Quickly, surround the hotel. Don't let anyone escape, not even an ant." Yes. At that moment, Stephen's gaze suddenly shifted towards the hotel, and he saw Justin carrying Catherine, with Julie by his side, coming out. Stephen's eyes widened, especially when he saw Caesar and the bodyguards behind. The horror seemed to make Stephen want to wet his pants. He pointed his trembling finger at Justin and said, That's him. That's the one who killed the young master." Hearing Stephen's words, Mr. Carlyle Walt followed the pointing finger and looked directly at Justin's face. The rage and fury made Mr. Carlyle Walt want to kill Justin immediately. The murderer of his son was right in front of him, wearing a calm expression, causing Mr. Carlyle Walt to have no thoughts other than revenge. However, at this moment, he cast his eyes over the surrounding crowd. Mr. Carlyle Walt still maintained composure in front of the public. If he directly killed Justin here, it wouldn't be wise. He knew that what he wanted more than anything was not just the death of the one who killed his son, but to capture Justin and his loved ones, then torture them slowly, letting them experience a living hell. Mr. Carlyle Walt tilted his head, raised his chin, and ordered his bodyguards to surround Justin. Justin, at this moment, suddenly found his path blocked. His expression immediately froze, and he frowned, looking towards Adam's corpse. But what he was searching for was the owner of these people. Justin quickly recognized the man as Adam's father because his face resembled the deceased to a great extent. Justin nodded, knowing that trouble was imminent. Mr. Carlyle Walt also approached Justin at this time. "Hello, young man with courage. Do you plan to leave just like this?" Mr. Carlyle Walt laughed coldly, a smile with a touch of coldness and malice from hell. "And are you here to claim your son's body? It's best to leave quickly. The longer you stay, the harder it will be to watch." Seeing Justin still composed and even making sarcastic remarks, Mr. Carlyle Walt seemed to go mad, gritting his teeth. "You wretched fellow, do you know whom you've messed with? Even if God himself descends, he won't be able to save you. You killed my son, and I will make you pay with your blood." Justin looked calmly into Mr. Carlyle Walt's eyes without a hint of fear. Meanwhile, Catherine, with her hand placed on Justin's chest, clenched tightly, full of fear and concern. Although she couldn't see anything through the conversation, she guessed Justin had killed Adam, and the person blocking their way was Adam's father. "Now be smart and follow me. If you don't want to cause a commotion here, and I will publicly disgrace you." Mr. Carlyle Walt laughed, a smile full of murderous intent. Meanwhile, Justin raised an eyebrow, signaling his readiness to fight, looking towards Caesar. At that moment, the sound of police sirens suddenly echoed. Well, Justin thought, given the commotion and events happening here, involving the police was not surprising. 3 or 4 police cars stopped in front of them, and a tall man with blonde hair, leading the group, got out. "Durango, you came just in time." Seeing the police officer, Mr. Carlyle Walt immediately put on a welcome expression. "Chairman, I heard that something terrible has happened to you." "Yes, that's right." Mr. Carlyle Walt burst into tears, his tone full of grief. "Police Chief Durango, you must seek justice for my son. He was brutally and unjustly killed by that wretched person. While he did nothing wrong, he died unfairly. You know, my son, Adam, is an obedient child." All right, I understand. Chairman, please bear the pain." At this moment, Mr. Carlyle Walt glanced sideways, and a sinister and cruel look flashed through his red, cold eyes. He leaned in and whispered to Durango, "If you make me satisfied, I'll promote your son to be my vice president." After speaking, he acted as if nothing had happened and continued to cry. Police Chief Durango, upon hearing this, immediately gave a signal, then waved his hand to his subordinates. "Quickly arrest the suspect for me." A group of police officers surrounded Justin, pointing their guns at him and the others. "If you are sensible, put your hands together to be tied. The punishment will be lenient. But if you resist, you know the consequences." Callus addressed Justin. Facing the pointed guns, Caesar felt a sense of contempt but moved forward to stand in front of his leader, ready to fight. However, Justin pulled Caesar back. "Put your guns down, Caesar." Caesar was surprised. "My lord, it's just a small matter. More importantly, I don't want the Dawn Council to become a terrorist organization in our homeland." Justin whispered to Caesar. Understanding, Caesar stepped back. Justin looked at Callus and the other police officers, finding it amusing. But at this moment, he gently released Catherine's hand. This action signaled to her and everyone else what he was about to do. "Justin." Catherine didn't want him to leave. "Don't worry. I'll be back soon." "Really? You'll come back soon, won't you, Daddy?" Julie, in her innocent belief in his words, grabbed his shirt and asked with sparkling, wide eyes. "That's right." He ruffled her hair. However, Catherine was not as optimistic. She felt anxious and guilty, especially since Justin had killed Adam to save her. His presence in this situation was because of her.
Justin, I'm sorry.
Catherine trembled. He knew what she was contemplating at this moment. He cupped her face and said, "Because you're my wife." Catherine was moved, tears streaming down her face. Seeing Justin getting into the police car, Mr. Carlyle Waltz smirked with resentment and muttered, "Get lost."